India obviously will still be our biggest threat in my books.
Okay.
And I also think that there will be revenge on Harmanpreet's mind after the Asia Cup final.
As you said, 4 brilliant sides since the beginning of the time we started discussing about the group of death. Are you seeing yourself surpassing the group stages?
Hopefully.
How much are you confident that Sri Lanka will win the World Cup?
Oh, I mean, that's going to be another 1996 stories we do. I don't think anyone...
Moving on to the next team for the T20 World Cup 2024, and it's another Asian side I'm going to discuss about and required somebody from the same country. Viren, welcome to the show. And it's Sri Lanka. It's the team that won the Asia Cup recently, couple of months back. Sri Lanka, welcome to the show. Viren, talk us through how much of a confidence boost you're looking into this tournament. This time it's an ICC tournament. You will have the big guns facing in the group stages as well. What is the takeaways you have taken from the victory against India in the Asia Cup?
Thanks for having me once again, Pratap. Prior to the Asia Cup and prior to 2022, Sri Lanka was known for being a side that was carried on the shoulders of Chamari Athapaththu. But over the past year and a half, and I've had the privilege of being on comms for quite a few matches,
Yeah.
including the Sri Lanka versus West Indies women's series down in Hambantota. And you could tell that Ramesh Ratnayaka and the rest of the think tank has made this a collective. Individuals, youngsters are performing. Players like Vishmi, Gunaratne, Harshitha, Samara Vikrama have all contributed, not just at home, but even away. We won elusive series in South Africa. We've done really well in England as well, winning T20 series there. And I think this is the best run of form we've been in when it comes to the women's side. And this is the peak of women's cricket. And I'm going to draw parallels to 1996. I mean, in 1995, that's when our ODI side clicked under Arjuna. We went into the World Cup as underdogs. And in quite familiar conditions this year, I think we could pose a threat, not just to India, but to a few other teams even in our group, even though it's the group of death.
Absolutely. It's a group of death, without a doubt. We'll come to discussing about the group as the show progresses. But starting with the skipper herself, Chamari Athapaththu, Viren, a prolific all-rounder, we can say about the captain herself as well, was in prime form and was the leading run scorer at the end of the day. She was in the match winner in the final of the Women's Asia Cup. Can she continue this? And at the biggest stage in the World Cup, can she do the same as well?
Definitely, yes, and she's been eyeing this for a while. She will undoubtedly go down as one of the greatest players of all time. And I do see her maybe even potentially being an ICC Hall of Famer soon. She's had an unprecedented track record, one of the most aggressive batters you'll find. She can single-handedly take the game away from her opposition. And yes, she has always dreamt of calling it quits, seeing her team being victorious at an ICC event. And I
Yeah.
think she's primed to have a brilliant campaign, not just with the bat, but with the ball and with her captaincy as well.
Absolutely. She will definitely be in the front of things as well. But going to the spinners, and as you know, it's going to be at UAE, no more at Bangladesh, Viren. So the spinners are expected to come into play. And you know, Sri Lanka is something which always looks into the improvement of the spinning department. But at the moment in the squad, as you can see, a couple of names that float around is that Inoka Ranaweera, you have Sugandika, Kumari, two good spinners amongst the rank. Is there anybody else apart from them you think can be match winners with the ball in hand for Sri Lanka in UAE conditions? Talk us through these two especially.
Yeah, Inoka Ranaweera is one of our most experienced campaigners. I think the reason she's been taken in this World Cup squad is because of her experience. But you have other youngsters as well. Kavisha Dilhari, a prolific
Yeah.
all-rounder, and some variation with the ball. And we have Sachini Nisansala, a 15-year-old Chinaman
Okay.
bowler who's also in the mix. And I think that's excitement right there. Being at a raw age of 15, you have a good 2 decades left in you. And our spin department is very, very strong, as is the case with our men's side. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing how Inoka, Kavisha, Sachini and co perform. But obviously, Chamari Athapaththu plays a big role in it as well. She's one of our lead weapons with the ball as well. So excited to see what our spin department does in the UAE.
True that, and you named about Kavisha Dilhari as well. What an all-rounder she is, at the top of the order. She was another character, another cricketer as well, who played a wonderful Women's Asia Cup for Sri Lanka. That's where you take off the responsibility, not just from Athapaththu, but distribute it to the other teammates. Will come as the show progresses. But Kavisha Dilhari, where should she bat according to you? Number four, number five, or is it high up the order, number three?
Yeah, so after Harshitha comes in at number three, which I think is quite settled. You have a settled top three with Chamari, Vishmi, and Harshitha. I think there's an avenue for Kavisha to be afloat and even come into bet at number four. She's done that before, did that in the Asia Cup, did that up in Ireland as well during the recently concluded Irish series. So yeah, I see her playing that crucial role.
And that's where the plus point comes for Sri Lanka. In the recent past, you've gone away from home and won series, and that's where I think a lot of confidence comes into the rank within, because you won at Ireland, you went to South Africa and defeated their West Indies as well. At home also, you won the Asia Cup. So things are looking very good when it comes to Sri Lanka in the past 18 months.
Very much so, and even a series wins in England as well to add to the list. And I think that is what's unprecedented. Back then, prior to this whole change, prior to the revolutionizing of women's cricket here, we were competitive at home but failed to compete away. We single handedly relied on Chamari to get us out of trouble. And there was a saying here once Chamari got out, that was the end of the game. And you saw that even in the World Cups in
Exactly.
2017, 2018 as well. There was one game in England against Australia where Chamari posted 160 or 170, but we still went on to lose because you
Mhm.
couldn't find another 100 runs
Correct.
amongst the rest of the 10 players. But now we have players like Harshitha, players like Vishmi Gunaratne stepping up, Kavisha Dilhari doing so when required. And yeah, it's impressive to see that there has been such a revolutionizing of Sri Lankan cricket.
Absolutely. And then you come to somebody like a Harshitha Madhavi. Her skills in the middle order might just provide Sri Lanka a little bit of great balance. She's a great cricketer, but I want to know a little bit of more what she brings to the table when it comes to Sri Lankan cricket in the shortest format of the game.
She's also become a Harshita has also become a vice captain figure, and she's a stylish bat. No relation to Sadira Samaravikrama, but bats a lot like him. And very she played some brilliant knocks, especially in South Africa. There were some match-winning knocks there, tricky run chasers. We were chasing over 300, and in women's cricket that is a challenge. I think we're the only side to have crossed the 300 run mark whilst chasing. So Harshita is outstanding, and I think the potentially the next leader for Sri Lanka cricket. So it's nice to see her being groomed under Chamari.
Okay, potentially the next leader after Chamari Athapaththu, according to you. We've spoken about Kavisha Dilhari. We go to somebody like an Kanchana as well. She's another prolific all-rounder when it comes to Sri Lankan cricket. What she brings to the table at the lower middle order.
She brings a bit of stability and also a bit of experience. And Kanchana has been in decent form, had a decent outing against West Indies, fared quite well against Ireland as well. So yeah, looking forward to seeing what she brings to the table. And another name, uh, Pritham, that we can't miss out on. And this has been she's been a crucial cog in Sri Lanka's machine over the past 18 months. She's still a
Mhm.
teenager, Vishmi Gunaratne up at the top. Uh,
Absolutely.
and I can't wait to see how she fares in the UAE in batting, in somewhat batting friendly conditions, similar to home. She's been prolific with the bat, and potentially one to watch out for the future, not just in Sri Lanka cricket, but in world cricket.
Okay, someone to watch out for sure. You are already saying, but we'll come to, as we are more or less done with the pace as spinners. Let's move on to the seamers as well. Left arm swing bowling. If you come into Inasha Priyadharshani is there, Udeshika Prabodhani, and slowly and steadily the pacers are getting groomed as well. Talk us through what assistance are you expecting the pacers to get in conditions like UAE?
Priyadharshani and Prabodhani have been brilliant. And there's also always a look about, kind of like comparable to Chaminda Vas, that left arm seam. You have the
Correct.
keeper standing up to her, and she gets the ball to wobble around a bit early on. And Prabodhani has been outstanding as well. And I think the complementing factor is that they both bowl well in tandem, and they're both quite experienced. So that you can't call them youngsters. They've been around the circuit quite a bit, and going into this World Cup, backed up by our spinners, backed up by the
Hmm.
fact that they can trust
True
our
that.
batters to chase anything down. I think there's a lot of confidence there.
Absolutely, and that's where I think a lot of the mixture of youth and experience is what I can see in the squad of Sri Lanka. More or less covered the entire squad, to be honest, Viren. But let's move on to the Group A, which is we have already said it's a group of death, Viren. I must tell you, because compared to Group B, this one doesn't have easy games, to be honest, because your opponents will be Australia, India, New Zealand, and Pakistan.
Yeah,
Pretty
four
tough group, I must tell you.
four big games. But with the confidence we've developed over the past few years, and this is something I want to highlight. Even when Chamari was single-handedly leading this side, we came close to beating New Zealand and
Mhm.
Australia on several occasions. And now that we've been backed up by a brilliant core of players, I don't think we should shirk away from the fact that we might pull something off against all of them in familiar conditions as well. India obviously will still be our biggest threat in my books. Um,
Okay.
I, in similar conditions. Um, and I also think that there will be revenge on Harmanpreet's mind after the Asia Cup final. But all four games, in my opinion, are still winnable. Yes, Australia come into this with a prolific record. New Zealand, brilliant setups for women's cricket. But I would write us off, and I think that's what we'll enjoy carrying that underdog tag going into this World Cup.
Fair enough, but you said India will be your main eye, to be honest. But similarly, if you look into the other way around as well, defeating India in the Women's Asia Cup final, will that give Sri Lanka the boost that they can beat teams like New Zealand and Australia as well?
Definitely. And on a big stage as well. It was not just a bilateral series. It was not just another game. It was an Asia Cup final. We had never won an Asia Cup before as a women's side.
Absolutely.
And under high pressure situation, we aced that run chase. It was a steep run chase, but we never looked out of control. And I think that's what will give us the biggest confidence boost going ahead to this World Cup campaign against four brilliant sides.
101%. As you said, four brilliant sides since the beginning of the time we started discussing about the group of death. Are you seeing yourself surpassing the group stages?
Hopefully, we as Sri Lankans will always be optimistic, but I am more optimistic than I ever was about this women's side. I put it that way. I think they deserve to have a deep run at the World Cup, and I think if the World Cup was in Bangladesh, I would have said we'd be strong favourites. But now that we're in Dubai,
Okay.
the UAE, in more moderate conditions, I think we stand a good chance. And I think what will be important is to take it a game at a time. For Chamari and the team not to be overawed by the situation. We just
Mhm.
take it a game at a time and see how far we go. I think our first game is against Pakistan. We
Mhm.
win that, we build some confidence going into the other three
Absolutely.
games.
True that. And absolute rippers of a game we have. Australia, India, New Zealand, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka will face each other once. So there you go. There's so many good games. But players to watch out for. Three players of my choice. And I think the number one is a no-brainer. Captain herself, Chamari Athapaththu. She has to stand up, and just like she did in the Asia Cup, if she does the same in the World Cup as well, Sri Lanka, I must tell you, are closer to the favorites section as well, moving on to the tournament as well. The other two players as well, I think Kavisha Dilhari and Harshitha Madhavi are my two other players to be watched out for. What's yours?
Harshitha and Chamari would be my one and two. But the third is an even shot. You can choose another batter, and if so, it's Vishmi Gunaratne. I think that opening partnership will be
Hmm.
crucial, how Vishmi and Chamari attack the power play. But going for a ball, I would like to see Prabodhani and how she fares with the ball. And I think
Okay.
if she gets her lines and lengths right, she'll be a threat and someone to watch out for. But yeah, it's a toss up for me between Vishmi and Prabodhani.
Okay, toss up between a bowler and a batsman, so fair enough. But we move on to the predicted playing 11 as Viren, and I think this is my predicted playing 11. I'm expecting a lot of changes from your end. Chamari Athapaththu and Vishmi Gunaratne, without a doubt, are the openers. Harshitha at number 3, Anushka Sanjeewani at number 4. Then you have Kavisha Dilhari, Nilakshika De Silva, Hasini Perera, Sachini Nilansala. Then you have Udeshika, Prabodhani, Achini Kulasuriya, and Inoka Ranaweera. What are your changes?
That is a perfect 11. And Achini Kulasuriya is a bit of a slinger. She's taken a leaf out of Malinga and Patirana. Quite
Okay.
experienced, goes with sling, and she gets the ball to pitch up quite a lot and with late deviation. And if she gets the ball to talk, she's someone to watch out for as well. I've not mentioned her name thus far in the
Okay.
program, so yes, someone else to watch out for. And I think that's a perfect playing 11.
So you're saying after Lasid Malinga, after Matisha Patirana, the next on the line is Achini Kulasuriya?
Yeah, and she's a lot older than Patirana, but yeah, I think she, she
Wow.
she she will be one to watch out for. The slightest stringy action, very economical, and someone who can take that new ball to good effect.
Okay, someone who can take the new ball to good effect. You're agreeing with my predicted playing 11 as well. Fair enough. Final question. You said you're being optimistic, but this is a question, it's a mandatory one, which I need to ask you as well. Are you trying, how much are you confident that Sri Lanka will win the World Cup?
Oh, I mean, that's going to be another 1996 stories we do. I don't think anyone expects us to win the World Cup. Everyone knows that we're a force to be reckoned with now, which is the biggest testament to Chamari and Ramesh Ratnayaka. Because Pritam, during COVID, there was hardly any women's cricket. Many
Absolutely.
players, and the women's side weren't seen to that well. There were many players considering retiring, giving up
True
cricket,
that.
going to other professional engagements. But this women's side, they've risen above the ashes, and it's a self-made unit. They've all
Mhm.
backed each other up, and it's fitting that this might be that end of that cycle. You know, players like Inoka, Ranaweera, even
True that.
Achini, Kulasuriya, Chamari. I don't know when they'll feature in a T20 World Cup again, or if they would, but it's the greatest run of form we've been in as a women's side. And if we can get through that group, there's nothing stopping us or nothing stopping Chamari from single-handedly taking the game away from anyone in the semis or finals. Because I'll say this and I put my neck on the line. Out of every player performing at this World Cup around the world, if there's one player who can single-handedly win you a game, that's going to be Chamari Athapaththu, and she usually does it on
101%.
the big stage.
101% I agree because we've seen that before as well. Fair enough. Thank you so much, Viren. Thank you to all the viewers for watching this video. Sri Lanka women's team squad analysis done and dusted for the T20 World Cup 2024. He's being optimistic. Let us know your predictions in the comment section as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the Fifth Umpire. Press the bell icon as well. Also, take a look into Eye on the Cricket as well. Thank you so much and bye bye.